This morning, and there's a top 10 luncheon that we're going to have to stop early for. So let's get started. We're going to walk through a listing presentation today, and there's a couple of things that I'd like to say first. First of all, what we're going to do is an example. If you watch Martha Stewart prepare a pot roast, and if we all watched the same show and we went home and made a pot roast, we'd have 20 different versions of that pot roast. It would still be a pot roast, right? People would still sit down and eat it, but it's all going to be different because we bring our own unique whatever to whatever we do. So what we do this morning is meant to be a guide and example. You're going to bring your own style into it because you're an independent contractor, and utilize this to your best advantage however you can. The other thing I would like to say is, anybody watching that PBS thing with Ken Burns has been on for the last 2 weeks about country music? Okay, it's absolutely incredible, and it brings a whole different perspective to country music and the people that are in it.
Is that PBS?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've been watching some of that.
Yeah, it's really good. The thing that I've noticed in that is that within everybody that has succeeded in that country music field, they have a passion and a desire deep within them that has to be met. They have to fulfill that desire, and most of them aren't in it for the money, or they don't start out going after money. That fame and the dollar bills come later, but they have a passion so deep. And I think the person that has stood out the most to me about this passion is Kris Kristofferson. Does anybody know his story?
I saw him in the tower about 4 years ago.
Did you? Kris Kristofferson was a military brat, traveled around with his family in the military, graduated from high school, went to Pomona State, graduated with a degree in literature, got a Rhodes Scholarship to go to Oxford, and got his master's degree at Oxford in literature. After he did that, he joined the military, became a helicopter pilot for the Rangers. That's no easy thing, right? Here's a guy that's got it all and has had it all, but deep within him was this desire to get his music out. He liked literature, and he's a very natural songwriter, and that's what he's known for. It's not that he's got the most wonderful voice, but he has a very unique talent for writing songs. He had just been invited to teach at Annapolis a class to the cadets on literature. He was on his way, and he stopped in Nashville, and he was bitten and smitten, and gave up his opportunity to teach at Annapolis, and instead his desire was so strong. With all of that background, he took a job as a janitor and a bathroom cleaner at a record company so he could get in on the ground level and begin feeding this passion he had for writing songs. And the rest is history. Did it happen overnight? No. But I just think that's a very amazing story, because if you've got something deep inside you, you can't hide it, and you cannot not answer to it. You have to do it. And I think if we all dug deep inside us, there might be a little bit of passion for real estate that might surprise us. Something that has to come out, something that you have to do. Does that make sense to everybody in some way? So I hope that what we do this morning will help a little bit in bringing some kind of a passion to you. we're gonna do the listing presentation. It's hard to get a listing without one unless it's your mom. So let's practice. My guinea pig this morning, my seller, shouldn't call him a guinea pig, is Mitz. Mitz is our average typical guy that calls up on the phone and says to the person on the floor, hey, I've got a house I need to sell. I've heard of Century 21. Could you help me? So I've made an appointment with Mitz, and we're just about to meet, but I forgot my business card.
Always leave business cards in the car.
Okay, so I'm going to knock on the door.
Come in.
Hello, Mr. Matsumoto.
Oh, I'm sorry, my name's Matsunami.
Matsunabe.
That's okay, Marcia. You can call me whatever you like. It's a very
Oh,
ethnic
I'm
name.
so sorry.
That's okay.
Miguel, get the listing.
It's a good thing Ross isn't here, isn't it?
That's okay.
Okay. I'm Marcia Richardson. I'm here for our appointment this morning.
Thank you, Marcia. Would you like to come in?
I would love to. Thank you very much.
Would you like me to show you around, or would you like to maybe, what do you usually do? I'm not a real estate agent.
Okay. What I'd like to do is just sit down and chat with you for a few moments. But first of all, I see that you've got a lovely home, very neat and tidy. And that must be reflective of your style of all things good.
Well, actually, I'm quite messy, but you caught us on a good day.
Oh, that's
So
good.
thank you.
Good. I also see some trophies here that, are those yours?
Yes, those are my prized possession, my bowling trophies. That's
Oh,
right.
bowling. Oh, you know, that's kind of a sport hasn't gone beside the wayside. You don't see many people bowling. You used to see it on TV. I remember as a kid going in and there'd be blue rings of smoke floating through.
Well, you know, I'm very good at all the sports that require you to do something athletic and drink, so that's one of my hobbies.
Oh, it's a
Thank you.
good place to socialize.
It is a
huh?
great place to socialize.
Oh, well, very good.
Mhm.
Well, I brought some paper to make some notes on, and if it's okay, I would just like to ask you a few questions and make some notes as
Certainly.
we go.
Would you like a pen? Would you like some water, maybe?
I would love some water, and I've got a pen,
Okay.
but thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Okay. So, what's bringing you to the point of selling your home?
Well, you know, our family's getting kind of bigger right now. We probably need a little bit more room, so we're looking to maybe get something that's a 4-bedroom rather than a 3-bedroom.
Okay, moving up in size.
Mhm.
Okay, 3 or 4 bedroom. What do you have here?
We have a 3-bedroom.
Okay, okay, and how soon do you need to make this move?
Well, we'd like to probably make the move at the end of the school year.
Okay.
So we'll probably end the school semester, and then, you know, it's up to you on what you think is best for us to either put it on before or after the school year.
Okay,
You're
all
the
right, good. So you're getting kind of an early start on that and just getting ready for
Getting
everything.
information put together.
Okay, very good. So I usually ask the question, what's most important to you? The amount of money that you get for your property, the time it takes, or the convenience of not having to bother with all of the showings and so on and so forth yourself?
You know, like most most sellers or people, you know, we always want to have the highest value that we can get for our property with the least amount of trouble, I think, is probably what we're most concerned about. I hear showing your property and opening up your house to the public is very unnerving, and it makes me a little nervous.
Okay, as we continue, I'll have some good information for you in a couple of different categories to help with that. Since we've got a bit of time, I would say that you've got the time, so maybe the price is something that we'll focus on. the value that we put on that property, will we place it on the market,
Very
that kind
good.
of thing.
Very good.
Okay. By the way, everybody, I gave everybody this sheet, and there's a place to check. As Mitz and I cover our territory, go through, your job is to critique what we're doing this morning. And if we've done our job, put a check mark in that place where we've done it. And at the end, we'll critique the whole thing and see how we do, okay? Okay. How long have you lived here?
Oh, about 20 years.
Oh, okay. What drew you to this house when you bought?
You know, we had a really good real estate agent that picked out the house for me,
Really?
believe it or not.
Oh, well, he must have been good if you've been here for 20 years.
Yeah, I believe he was a trainer at your office at one point.
Really? Oh, was his name Jan?
He was a great real estate agent, believe
Oh.
me. Mhm.
That's great. Well, since that decision was sort of made for you, what do you like about this house now that you've been here 20 years?
Oh, our house is a regular house, but it's been customized tremendously, so that's what I liked about it. We live in a regular old blue-collar neighborhood, but
Mhm.
you know, it's kind of like what I like. It's been updated, made a little larger, and kind of speaks to me as like being unusual.
Ah, okay. Give me some idea of what you're hoping to find in a new home.
Well, we'd like to move to the Clovis School District. That would be
Okay.
one of the important check marks. The other thing is that we'd like to have 4 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I'd like to have a 20-car garage, but I'll take a 3-car garage instead.
Oh, something with a workshop maybe?
Maybe not so much a workshop, but just more parking.
Okay.
Because along with my bowling trophies, I have a collection of cars. So.
Okay, okay. Are you working with an agent toward finding that new home, Miss?
No, we're just preliminarily,
Just beginning the
interviewing
process.
agents right now.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, maybe if we can put all of this together, I can help you with that too, if you would desire that.
That'd be great.
All right.
That would make it very comfortable to work with the same person in both respects.
Would make it seamless in that transition, I think.
Sounds
from
great.
your
You can do
older
that
to your
for us,
new.
right?
Yes, certainly.
Excellent.
Be happy to. Okay. So the experience that you had when you bought this property was a positive one.
It was very good, except my real estate agent didn't strap my water heater. That was the
Oh.
only thing that he forgot, but otherwise it was a seamless transaction, and that was
Okay.
for real, by the way.
Okay, all right. So, looking back on that experience, have you bought other properties or sold since then, or has that been basically your only purchase?
Yeah, that was my only purchase.
Okay, all right. So looking back over that, the strong points of that agent were helping you make decisions?
Very much so.
Okay.
He told me that we were moving into a very safe neighborhood, that
Okay.
we were going to get this property at a great price,
Okay,
and that it would stand the test of time due to the strong price range in the neighborhood.
okay, all right. Did he communicate well with you, keep you informed?
Yeah, he called every week.
Okay,
It's
all
probably
right.
what I expect.
You know, interestingly enough, that's the way that I like to work too.
Excellent.
I like to give my buyers and sellers as much information as I can so that they can make an informed decision about one of the most important aspects of their life, buying and selling property. So I feel like that's my job, give you a lot of information, do the research, provide you with whatever you need, and help you along the way. And communication, I think, is paramount. We have to be in communication. I want you to feel free, assuming that we're going to be working together. I want you to feel free to call me at any time. I'm always available. And I'm going to call you anytime I have something to tell you. But over and above that, I like to call the people that I work with, my buyers and sellers, once a week. On my schedule, I've got blocked Thursday afternoons So probably between 4 and 6, I like to call the people that I'm working with, give them an update on um, whatever is happening in the market, if I see some shifts, if I've done another market analysis, and I like to do those from time to time if we don't get an offer right away, just to keep you informed and updated and keep both of us in the loop. So if you're not available on Thursday afternoons, I will either send you a text. I'd like to talk to you by phone, but if not available, I'll send you a text or an email and give you an update that way.
That's great. I'm usually more available by text if you need
Okay.
to talk to me.
All right?
I manage a small office, so I'm kind of busy.
Okay.
So just
So-
shoot me a text and I'll give you a call right back.
Great. Texting is your preferred method of communication?
Yes, please.
All right. Excellent. Glad to know that. Okay, what I would like to do, and I think we're just about ready, if it's good for you, I'd like to go through and take a look at the house, make some notes, and here's the way I like to work, Mitz. I like to come and find out what's motivating your sale, what's behind your sale, your reason, time frame, so on and so forth. I like to look at the house and get a good feel. Then I like to go back to my office and I like to do a thorough investigation of the market. Things that are on the market now because that's the competition. Things that have sold because that's what appraisers are going to look at. And I like to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. I want to compare properties that are similar to yours in square footage, amenities, capital improvements, neighborhood, that kind of thing, so that we can get a very realistic idea of where to place your property on the market price-wise. So I would like to do a little bit of research by looking and then go back and do my homework and come back later and present that information to you and whoever else is on title with you, or whoever else would be a decision maker with you.
Sounds good.
All right? So we're going to go through and look at the house. I'm going to make notes as we go through about the things that I see. This is not my time to tell Mitz, you need to do this, you need to do that. If he asks me a question, I might give him a brief answer, but this is not an opportunity to tell him what he needs to do, okay? Or to talk about staging or that kind of thing. We're just looking at the property for what it is so I can get a feel to do my research. And Miss, we've chosen this afternoon or this evening about 5:30 or 6 for me to come back.
That sounds good.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do my research and I'm going to come back prepared. But before I go, I'm going to say, Mitz, I have a little homework for you while I'm doing my homework. I have a book a little bit about our company and some ideas and things. On the back is a checklist of some things that we may need during the course of our business together. And if you can look through that, my bio information is there, a little bit about my history and me. There's a lot of information about my company and the way that we work and what we have to offer. When I come back this evening, I'll go into those details in much greater detail and answer any questions that you have. But I wanted you to have that, and then when I come back this evening, I have a marketing plan that we'll go over too.
Sounds great.
All right.
I like the checklist.
Oh, good, good. Hope it's helpful, and if you've got any of those things that you can pull out and have ready tonight, that might help us too.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I've gone and I've done my research and I'm coming back and I'm going to present this information to Mitz. Mitz, most people have an idea of the value of their property, and I'm assuming you do too.
Yeah, I've gone on Zillow, so I've kind of got an idea.
Zillow, a realtor's best friend.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know how we're going to compare to Zillow. I would almost guess, because let me tell you how Zillow works first of all. Sometimes they might have some pretty accurate information, but they don't get specific to a property for value. They're looking in zip codes and everything that has happened in that zip code. They may be comparing, 2-bedroom houses under 1,000 square feet with a new hospital going in down the street. So those aren't really properties that can compare. What I've done is to be very specific, and I'm going to show you my market analysis here. And I'm going to point out the things to you that I think are interesting. I've come up with a range of value, and like I said, my job is to present all of the facts. The seller always determines the selling price. My job is to give you information to help you make a good decision and to help you place your property on the market where we think it will sell
Sounds good.
quickly and for the price. Okay, so here is my market analysis, and you're going to see some interesting things on there. First, notice that it's categorized. At the top, there are properties for sale. That's the competition that we are up against right now. And there are some pendings, and there may be some at the end that were pulled off the market or expired. That big category of sold properties is very interesting, and I think extremely telling in that, as you will notice, that list is divided up into the address, the size, the square footage of the house, the number of bedrooms, the size of the lot, the days that it's on the market, the combined days. That CDOM stands for combined days on market, and what that means is if another company has had it listed and then a new company takes it over, they combine those days to give a true picture to a buyer of maybe how to strategize a purchase or to give complete information to a buyer. So those days are important. If you will notice on the solds, it's going to say days on the market, the original listing price, the price it was listed at the time that it sold, and then it's going to give a percentage of the selling price to the listing price. I think it's really interesting when you look at that. If you see and this is almost, not always, but almost 100% across the board. The highest percentage of selling price to listing price correlates with the lowest days on the market.
That looks correct.
Yes. And for the days on the market, up at the top for the current listings, the ones that are days on the market, if they've been on too long, you're going to see price reductions already on those. I think what that tells us, Mitz, is that we want to choose very carefully where we place your property on the market for a number of reasons, but one of the most important reasons is because in today's market, we have a pretty low inventory, which means that we have more buyers than properties for sale, and generally speaking, those people that have made an offer, and maybe there are multiple offers on a property, one party gets that property, everybody else is left waiting for the next new listing to come up that meets their criteria.
I understand.
And
Looks like the market's coming down in the neighborhood a little bit.
It could come down a little bit. I've got some other papers behind it that are a pretty good indicator of how long things are staying on the market and where those selling prices are. And I think that's pretty telling too. That's good information for you to be aware of. What that's telling us, and especially if it is coming down a bit, is we want to be very well priced when we first hit the market, because that initial impact is going to I think be very telling for what happens. If we're very well priced, we should get showings right away, probably offers right away, and you're going to probably get the highest offer during that time period. The longer it sits on the market, the more people are going to feel that you're open to an offer, you're open to, maybe you've got a crisis situation going on where you need to sell. It just creates a bit more of a situation to deal with lower offers, more time on the market, so on and so forth. So I think it's really critical. I've come up with a range that I feel your property will sell in. And that range is somewhere probably between about maybe 290, 295, maybe up to 305, maybe as high as 310. I think that for the condition of your house, which is very nice, and for what we're seeing on those charts and things, if we list it probably at about 299, keep it right under the 300, I think it will sell very quickly.
What do you think about trying a price on at 305, and we can always reduce it?
We could. I don't think 305 is out of the range. The thing about that is that your time frame allows for that. If we were really up against a tight time clock for you getting your property sold, I would say that would be a bad idea. I think that the 305 is within the range that we've set, and we certainly could do that. And I don't think that those people that are waiting for the next house to come up will be scared away by that price. If you went over that, I would say you might shoo away those buyers that are waiting, but I think you're in the ballpark there, and probably worth a try.
Yeah, it looks like the ones that are listed around that price range sold within 20 days. So I think that sounds good.
That would work for you,
That would
wouldn't it, with
work.
the time frame that you have?
Mhm.
How does that fit into what you've had in mind?
That sounds perfect.
Does it?
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. I'm ready to get our paperwork done if you are. Do you feel comfortable with moving forward at this point and letting me go to work for you?
That shouldn't be a problem.
All right?
Did you want me to make it more of a problem?
Not at all.
Sure?
They should all be as nice as you, Mitch.
Okay, well, I could make it really bad if you want, but do you want me to have some objections, or?
Well, we haven't talked about commission yet, so I'm sure you're saving the best for last.
Well, of course.
Okay. All right, so I've got our listing agreement here. We're going to go over that. I left a copy with you to review. Hope you had a chance to look at that earlier. But if not, we're going to go through it pretty carefully anyway. I kind of get a sense that you like to be knowledgeable, you like to have things explained, but maybe you don't like to spend a lot of time. Am I reading you correctly?
Well, since you came from the same office as, my last real estate agent, I'm sure everything's fine. Has the market changed much? Has paperwork changed much in 20 years?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah, we're going to be busy for a while with this paperwork.
Well, then you might want to explain maybe the more important details.
We
too.
definitely will. What I like to do is paraphrase those for you, unless you like to read it line by line, which we can do. But if not, I'll paraphrase the items as we go through the listing agreement and let you know what they mean.
That's okay.
Okay, and of course, ask any questions that you have along the way.
What's your marketing strategy? I heard the internet's really important when you're selling a house.
I think it's extremely important. And part of that strategy is to have your house ready when the photographer comes and we get that part of it ready for the words that go into that internet marketing. We want to appeal to people. So visually we want to appeal. I think you're in pretty good shape here. I may have a couple of tips for you for a little staging and some things to do, but I think you're pretty ready, and I provide the photographer. We have a professional photographer. He may do some aerial shots with a drone, if that's okay. We may do some special shots at different times of the day, so on and so forth. And I could probably have him out here in 2 or 3 days, and I think he'd probably be ready by then, if that sounds good to you.
Sounds great.
And then, as far as going on the internet, we of course list things on our local MLS, and unless you have an objection, that's going to go into the internet system and out to a number of different websites and search engines through our MLS, like Realtor.com and some others, and then through Century 21, we're going to be going out to over 200 search engines and websites where your property will be available. And I can tell you, Century 21 has some interesting tools that you'll find appealing to you, I think, as a seller. We have something called Golden Ruler, and I can set it up so that you get a report periodically, usually every couple of weeks or so, maybe once a month. Hopefully we won't be on the market much longer than that, but that's going to show you where the internet clicks have come from. When somebody looks at your property on the internet and they click for information, it's going to show where their interest originated from, what part of the country, and it's going to show what website they were on. And it's going to give us an idea. If we're getting a lot of local hits on that and we aren't getting showings, I think it's going to be a sign that we may be overpriced. I'm not anticipating that, but just to let you know, that usually is a pretty good indication. The same thing with agents in the area showing your property. Always when there's a new property that comes on the market, there is an attempt by agents who may be trying to convert one of their buyers to another listing, where they can show an overpriced property, they'll use that property as a springboard to sell the other property. Again, I don't anticipate with this. I think we're going to be really priced well in the market. I think we should get showings right away, and probably even some offers right away, which kind of leads us to the question then, if we get an offer more quickly than you're anticipating, are you prepared to go ahead and move forward with your purchase of the next one?
Of course, let's get it over with.
Okay, just get it done.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Other marketing that we do, I like to do flyers and brochures. If you're up to it, we can do open houses, depends on how you feel about that.
That'd be fine.
Okay, and lots of other kinds of marketing that come up along the way. Is there anything that's particularly important to you?
Yeah, as a consumer, probably not.
Okay.
As a real estate agent, yeah, lots of stuff.
Okay. All right. So just get it done is your philosophy. Okay.
That would be the best.
All
I
right.
wouldn't know any better.
Do you have any questions for me up to this point?
Have I just mentioned?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How much experience do you have in real estate?
Okay. I've been in the real estate business for a long time. With Century 21 almost entirely all of that time. I believe in the Century 21 system. I've seen it do a lot of good things for a lot of people. The tools that are available are incredible. Started my career over on the coast, was a co-owner and then an owner of my own real estate company.
What made you come to Fresno? I should answer.
Well, I had a stepdaughter that lived here
Mhm.
and health problems, and she needed some help, so we came over here to be close to her.
Do you ever miss going back?
I used to, but now when I go back, it's just too congested and too many people.
Especially on the weekend, right?
Especially on the
Yeah.
weekend, yeah. So I think that my experience will bring a lot to the table for you to help you get your
Sounds like
property
it.
sold.
Mhm.
And I would just commit to doing my best for you.
Sounds great.
Okay. We're ready to go ahead with this listing agreement then. And we're gonna go through the listing agreement, and I'm gonna paraphrase each of those paragraphs so that Mitz understands. He's going to ask me questions, and, anything that you see so far, Mitz? Okay. So, I'm going to have two copies. I'm gonna have a copy that I'm gonna be reading from. Mitz is going to have his copy in front of him, and Mitz, as we go along, and we've completed each page, there's a place for you to initial at the bottom, if you would do that.
You bet.
Okay, and we've gotten to the last page, and I'm going to have him sign. And I had asked him before if there was anybody else entitled to have those people available, so, Mitz is the only person entitled, and it makes that job really easy. Okay.
The one, you know, when you're doing your presentation,
Mhm.
you know, there's two of the pages that I really like. One of them is it's the one where it says that having photography, like professional photography, is like the thing that buyers and sellers both find most important to them.
Yes,
And then, of course, good descriptions.
yes,
But the other one is the one that shows that, like, I think it was like 85% of all people use the internet in some way to determine their sale.
yes.
And you want to make sure you put that into your brochure, because like the explanation of how Century 21 has all these extraordinary technologies in order to get your property out, and then in reverse through Lead Router and Zap, you receiving the calls and information back is important. There's one more page that shows that most people need to get back in touch with these interested parties within like 10 minutes or something like that.
Yes.
And that's where it all comes together, and we need to at least make sure that that's hit home with the
Yes.
sellers and everything. I think that's one of the strengths that Century 21 has.
Right, so true. Okay, so we've gone through the listing agreement. Mitz has signed it. He didn't give me a bad time about the commission, so we're at 6%, which is where we want to be. And now we're going to move into talking about what happens now. Now that we have it listed, and we actually have a start date that's going to be about 3 days later to give us a chance to get the photographer here, to get everything done. I've got a couple of suggestions for Mitz for things that he needs to do. And I'm going to give him our marketing book. Mitz, I have a marketing book for you too. It's going to show some of the things that we do for marketing. And as we go through that, first of all, that is a letter from the owners of our company, Mike
Damn, they're
Wolfers.
handsome gentlemen, you know?
They are indeed. And they're very happy, and I'm very happy that you've agreed to let us represent you in this very important sale. And we trust we're going to do a good job for you.
That's good.
And as we go through there, that's a little bit, and I think you'll find this information interesting. This is our company philosophy and how we like to do business. And that's very important to us. We've been in the community for 60 years. We're in the top 0.5 to 1% of all Century 21 companies for sales. And those two pages, if you flip that over, that's marketing. And I've got it in tiers there. You'll notice that it's in tiers. The first tier is what most companies will do. They're going to put a sign out, a lockbox, and put it in the MLS, and then just hope that somebody comes along. But that's where our job really begins. Everything that we do, Mitz, is geared toward getting your property sold. From and you'll notice that I've got on a career apparel with our company logo. It's amazing how many people will ask about a name sign or a logo. The things that we do all the way through there benefit you as a seller. the number of people that we have in our company, the synergy that comes from that, the networking that we do, all of that goes into helping to get your property sold. And you can see it's pretty extensive.
And there's a lot to offer.
There is a lot to offer, more than most people know. And more than most people know that goes into getting a property sold and through to a closed escrow.
Or you even have the name badge.
Mm-hmm. That is a sequence of events. I think that it can be daunting and confusing about the process of selling a property and getting it through to the closing, so that a new buyer is getting a set of keys. And of course, this whole process is leading up to transferring title from you to a buyer. And there's a lot to be done in the meantime. Marketing your property, getting an offer. And first of all, let me tell you what your options are when you get an offer. You've got three. If it's a well-written offer and you like it, you can accept it as it's written. If there are some points that you do like and some that you don't, our best option then is to counter and to keep the door open with that buyer. If it's a frivolous offer that you feel is just not going to go anywhere and it's not worth keeping the door open, then we'll just reject it.
As long as the net is good, I'll be fine.
Okay, all right. So in that sequence of events, getting the buyer, getting the paperwork done, and then getting into escrow, and the escrow officer has a tremendous amount of work to do, getting ready to pass title to that new buyer. And ultimately, again, that's what we're working for.
But you'll lead me all the way through the...
All the way, step by step, yes. That's my job, and you will be well taken care of.
Do you want to go into the commission thing?
Sure.
So it says, understanding the commission, what's the commission about?
Our commission, I think an important thing for you to know is that every office has a duty, every broker of every office has a duty to establish the commission rate for their company. Commissions are not established by tradition, by the Department of Real Estate, by the Board of Realtors, or by anybody else. Commissions are established by the broker for a company, and you'll notice that it said on the listing agreement they're negotiable. That means a broker can actually choose the commission that he wants for his company. We try to be competitive and in the range, and our broker has chosen the 6% as the commission for our company.
So do you get the whole 6%?
No, absolutely not. That commission is split, first of all, into two sides. We have a listing side and a selling side, okay? So the company that brings the buyer is going to share in that commission with us, and our company philosophy is we share equally. So they're gonna get 50% of the commission, 50% goes to our company. Our company shares in that commission with the agents, and the broker gets a portion. The broker has a lot of bills to pay. There's a lot that goes into marketing, the expensive marketing, and so on and so forth. So there's a split between the agent and the company. I'll get part of that, the company gets part. The broker that has the agent with the buyer will get a portion of it, and then that agent. So generally speaking, a commission is split into 4 separate parts.
Good enough for me.
Okay? All right?
Just want me to go through the rest?
Yeah, the rest of that book has to do with our company divisions, and I think that's an important thing for you to know about. We've got a number of divisions. We're a full-service real estate company, We also have an in-house lender. It makes it very easy for buyers to come into the office and have a full range of residential loan products. We've got commercial divisions, property management, farm and land, or lots and land and an ag department. We have people that specialize in business opportunities, fine home and estates, just a full service company to represent any kind of real estate.
Very good.
And then that's a little bit of information on staging. There is a lot of information and a lot of ideas out there right now about staging. Staging is important. One thing I would say, I think you're in pretty good shape for staging, but those are some ideas that will be simple and effective, like a bouquet of fresh flowers in the entry or someplace. Folding those towels so that they're nice and neat.
This is a good idea, your little checklist of dates.
Uh-huh. Yes, we're gonna put your property on the market. The effective beginning date will be 2 days from today. And my anticipation is that you will be closed and finished with escrow within about less than 2 months for having it on the market and getting it closed through escrow.
Sounds good.
Okay. And let me mark that, and I would probably mark that as a target date for MITS. Okay. And those again are some of the things that we're going to need along the way.
Very
Okay. So I'm going over our marketing plan, what we're going to do. I'm going to tell them how soon the sign will probably go up, the date that it's going to go into the MLS, that's our beginning date. We've given a couple of days from the date that we're doing the paperwork to get the photography done, for him to do whatever recommendations we may have for staging and repairs and that kind of thing.
When the sign goes up, you guys gotta remember how long it takes too, because you don't wanna promise them the sign's gonna go up that day.
Yeah.
And it's already after 5 on Thursday.
Yes.
What's
There's a chart, Elba has a chart where Rick is on what days, and unfortunately, he goes to, I had ordered a sign and didn't think about the fact that I was in Prather, and he only goes up there once a week on Thursday.
It's like the north, he goes north one week and then goes south the next week. So
Yeah, and Elba has that chart, so you maybe get a copy of it and add it to your portfolio there.
Okay. Miss, I just want to tell you a little bit about what happens when we begin to get people coming through the house.
I hate people.
Well, then that will be a great opportunity for you to leave, and that would be my recommendation. When we have a showing, they're going to call and set up an appointment with you because your home is occupied. It needs to be a time that's convenient to you, but we need to make sure that it's convenient to the buyers too, because we don't want to lose a buyer because they can't see it. There's always an expectation of immediacy with those buyers, but sellers need a little bit of time too. Be as accommodating as you can. The best suggestion is that if you can be away from the home when they come, it is better, because buyers like to project themselves into a house that they're interested in. They want to feel free to open closet doors and cupboard doors and look around, and they want to feel how it would live to be in that house. If you're there, that's very hard, because they're going to feel like an intruding guest or an intruder or somebody that shouldn't be opening those doors. So it isn't always possible for you to be gone sometimes. So in the case that you have to be there, I would answer the door, introduce yourself, and invite the agent to take your people through, and you'll be available when they're finished. And as they go from room to room, make sure you're not in that room. And if you can take a walk around the block or wait in the backyard or whatever, it will make them feel better, and that showing will go better.
What do people do with their prized possessions, jewelry, my bowling balls.
Okay, that's a very
The
good
pink one?
question. A very good question. It's, you want, before we hit the market, you want to have everything secured and put away. And that includes prescription medications. Anything that would be attractive to somebody that is less than honest, let's say, and we don't have a lot of problem with that. We have to be prepared in today's society for anything. So firearms, prize bowling balls, your technology equipment, so on and so forth should be put away.
Wow, that's gonna be tough.
It is, and you know what I might recommend? You're gonna be moving anyway. I would pack up whatever you can, even if you have to put it in a storage unit. If you've got a gun collection, it might be good to box those things up or, put it with a trusted friend that's got a gun safe or something.
I've used that line before.
Yeah,
Not so much with the guns, but if you're gonna pack up anyway, you might as
Yeah.
well be prepared.
right.
Put those things, those valuables away in boxes and
Yes.
then store them somewhere else.
Yeah. The more that you can take out of a closet and pack it away, the bigger it's gonna make those closets look, those cupboards look, especially if you've got seasonal sports equipment.
People are gonna see that this closet's full, so they're thinking to themselves, we're gonna run out of room as well.
Yes.
So you gotta make it look spacious.
Yes, make it look spacious, clean, inviting. Curb appeal mitts is one of the most important things. That feeling they get when they first drive up
Uh-huh.
is very important.
You mean I can't like have my broken down car in the front yard?
Not advisable.
It's actually not mine, it's someone else's.
Oh.
Anyway.
Put a little color. If that front door is beginning to peel or the stain on it is getting faded, spend a little time to make that front door look really good. You might need some new hardware on it. Put some color somewhere around the front door, a pot of blooming flowers, so on and so forth. Get your gardener over there, get your house cleaner there, make the windows shiny and sparkly.
You know, my painter always does that. He
Your
said,
painter?
if you paint the inside of the house,
Uh-huh.
always remember to paint the front door, because that's the first thing you
Yes,
can see.
it's the first thing.
So,
Yeah, and if that doorknob looks like it's peeling and
we're stuck.
yes, or stuck or multicolored or something, new hardware is not all that expensive. It's the most important thing you can do is create appeal. Some of the things may not bring dollars, but appeal brings offers sooner, and that time value of money is very important.
The one chance to make a good first impression.
That's
It
right.
starts at the door.
Yes,
And that's the other document that really makes a difference. I mean, everybody I hand that to recites that back to me while
Yeah.
we're, hey, Mitz, what do you think about the way we staged the property?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, you only have one chance to make a great first impression. That's what your book says.
that's right,
So,
yeah.
I think that one works,
Good.
says volumes. We're right at 10:30.
Okay, so I'm gonna thank Mitz for the opportunity to represent him in this sale, make him a promise of keeping in touch and doing everything I can to find the best buyer for him. And we'll be in touch, Mitz. I have a lot of paperwork for us to get through with disclosures and that kind of thing. And like I said, feel free to call me. Okay. Did you use your checklist? How did we do? Did we get most things covered? Did we miss something?
You really did great.
Okay.
Can't find anything you didn't cover.
We're gonna take a break. And then we're gonna look for some volunteers that would like to do the same thing.